Virgo, you've been chosen to hear this because what I'm about to reveal is not common knowledge. In fact, most doctors won't talk about it. But deep in ancient temples and healing traditions, there's a tea. Yes, a tea that works better than medicine. And the reason you haven't heard of it because it was never meant to be sold. It was meant to be practiced. But now you need to know. Because for many, especially Virgo souls who've carried more than their share of stress pressure and unspoken pain, something subtle is happening. Quiet symptoms, sleepless nights, a tired heart. Doctors may prescribe pills, but what if the answer has been hiding in your teacup all along? Let me ask you something. Have you ever met someone in their 70s with more energy, more clarity, more peace than people half their age? They're not lucky. They're not genetically blessed. What they're doing differently is how they start their mornings. And it begins with this. This video isn't just about tea. It's about the 5 sacred herbs Buddhist monks, Eastern healers, and modern wellness seekers have all quietly relied on. These teas have been buried under pharmaceutical noise, yet they've kept people healthy for centuries with no side effects, no synthetic chemicals, and no cost beyond a moment of your presence. And today, I'm going to share them with you one by one. Stay with me until the end, because the 5th tea was once banned by colonial medicine for being too effective, and the reason why will shock you. So grab your cup, because what you're about to hear could realign your body, clear your mind, and even protect your heart from the inside out. In the next few minutes, I'll introduce you to each tea, how it works, who it's helped, and how you can make it part of your own life with just 5 quiet minutes a day. Stay with me until the end, because the 5th tea we'll talk about wasn't just rare, it was once banned from medical circles, and the reason why might surprise you. So take a deep breath, settle in, and let's begin. Let me tell you about Mr. Henry, a 65-year-old retired librarian from Eugene, Oregon, who starts every morning by walking 4 miles through the forest trails behind his house. What's remarkable isn't just the distance, it's that he does this rain or shine every day without stiffness or soreness, and without popping a single pain pill. But life wasn't always this way for him. Just a few years ago, Henry was dealing with the typical struggles of aging, stiff joints, sluggish digestion, low energy, and that frustrating feeling of being half awake all day. He had tried supplements, exercises, even switched doctors, but nothing truly worked until he visited his daughter in Thailand and stayed at a Buddhist retreat center for a weekend. There, every morning began with a warm cup of ginger tea, brewed slowly with slices of fresh root, a few drops of lemon, and silence. Henry thought it was just part of the ritual. But by the 3rd day, something shifted. His stomach felt calmer. His knees didn't ache climbing the temple steps. And for the first time in months, he actually looked forward to getting out of bed. Ginger, as the monks explained, isn't just a kitchen spice. It's known as a fire herb used for centuries to awaken the body's internal systems from circulation to immunity to digestion. Modern studies support this too. Ginger is a powerful anti-inflammatory, helps reduce joint pain, stimulates blood flow, and supports your gut, like few other natural remedies can. Henry brought the habit home. Now his mornings start with a quiet ritual. Slice a thumb of ginger, simmer it gently in water, sit by the window, watch the steam curl upward, breathe deeply, and sip slowly. No screens, no noise, just him and the warmth that fills not only his mug, but his spirit. He says that tea isn't just keeping him mobile, it's keeping him mindful. It reminds him that aging doesn't have to mean decline, it can mean rediscovery. Slowing down enough to truly feel your body and listen to what it needs. Henry's story isn't rare. Across cultures, ginger has been a go-to for monks, healers, and elders to maintain vitality. And it's not just physical, it's energetic. It connects body and breath, focus, and movement. If you're waking up feeling stiff, heavy, or unmotivated, maybe your body isn't broken, it's just waiting to be reawakened. And maybe all it needs is a little fire. That fire might just start with a slice of ginger, a pot of water, and a few quiet minutes to reconnect with yourself before the world rushes in. That small ritual, that 5-minute act of presence became the cornerstone of his entire day. He even started keeping a journal, writing down how he felt before and after his tea, tracking his digestion, energy, and mood. Over time, he noticed patterns. On days he skipped his ginger tea, he felt heavier, more distracted, a little more irritable. And on days he kept the ritual, he moved with ease, breathed deeper, and felt like himself again. Henry now shares this practice with friends at the community center, even teaching others how to prepare ginger tea properly. It's not about perfection. It's about presence, about giving your body what it needs before the world asks anything from you. So if you're someone who's been feeling out of sync, who wakes up already feeling behind, maybe it's time to pause, pour, and realign, because sometimes the most powerful medicine isn't found in a bottle. It's found in boiling water, a root, and the intention to start again gently. Henry's ritual may sound simple ginger water silence, but it reset his mornings and through them his life. But not everyone who finds healing through tea starts from the same place. Ethan. He's 37, a travel photographer, the kind of guy who's always chasing the next sunrise, the next wild shot, the next adrenaline rush. But last year, everything stopped. After months of back-to-back assignments, living out of suitcases and editing till 2 a.m., his body began sending quiet alarms, racing thoughts, restless nights, gut issues, and this strange, persistent anxiety he couldn't name. He called it burnout. His doctor called it functional exhaustion. The truth: his nervous system was stuck in fight or flight mode. Ethan tried supplements, yoga apps, even fasting. Nothing helped him sleep, until a random conversation with a tea vendor in Cape Town changed everything. The man handed him a pouch of rooibos red bush tea. He said, "No caffeine, but it helps your body listen again." Skeptical but curious, Ethan gave it a shot. First night home, he brewed it. Slow, just water, rooibos leaves, and a slice of orange peel. No laptop, no music, just a candle and the hum of silence. He didn't fall asleep immediately, but something shifted. His shoulders dropped. His thoughts slowed. His breath felt fuller. Within a week, the 3 a.m. wake-up stopped. His gut felt calmer, and he began to crave that tea time, not just for sleep, but for the pause it offered. It became his signal to disconnect, to recalibrate. He now calls it his red light ritual. Every night around 9 p.m., no matter where he is, rooftop in Bali or a motel in Montana, he brews rooibos, and for 15 minutes he does nothing. He lets his mind breathe. The tea didn't fix everything, but it gave him a rhythm, a boundary, a reset. Ethan says, "This tea taught me something no therapist ever said. Rest isn't laziness, it's language, and rooibos speaks it fluently. Let me introduce you to Mrs. Diana, a 72-year-old retired seamstress living in Sacramento, California. For over a decade, she struggled with insomnia that no medication, meditation app, or doctor's prescription could fix. Every night felt like a battle. She would lie awake staring at the ceiling, her mind racing through old memories, unfinished to-do lists, and quiet worries about her health, her children, and sometimes things she couldn't even name. The lack of sleep affected everything. Her blood pressure crept higher, her patience wore thinner, and even small joys like gardening or baking didn't feel the same anymore. Her son, who had taken up meditation to manage his own stress, suggested she try something different. Rooibos tea, a naturally caffeine-free herbal tea he had discovered at a retreat in New Mexico. At first, Diana was skeptical. Tea felt too simple to solve something so deeply rooted. But out of love and a bit of desperation, she gave it a try. The first night, she followed her son's advice exactly. She brewed a small pot of pure rooibos, steeped it slowly, added a thin slice of orange for taste, and most importantly, drank it in silence. No television, no scrolling, just her, the tea, and the quiet. She didn't fall asleep instantly, but something shifted. Her body felt less tense, her chest lighter, her breath slower. Within a week, the tossing and turning reduced. Within a month, she was sleeping through most nights. Rooibos, as she later learned, is rich in antioxidants like aspalathin, which not only help reduce inflammation, but also regulate cortisol, the stress hormone. It's a natural adaptogen, helping the body return to balance without the side effects of sleeping pills. More than that, rooibos has a calming effect on the nervous system, making it ideal for evening rituals. Now every night around 8 p.m., Diana brews her tea the same way. She dims the lights, puts on soft instrumental music and treats the experience like a sacred wind-down ceremony. She says it's not just the tea, it's the ritual, the act of telling her body, it's okay to let go now. Over time, her blood pressure stabilized, her mood improved, and she started waking up with the kind of energy she hadn't felt since her 40s. She even rejoined her Tai Chi class, something she had given up years ago due to fatigue. Now she shares her nightly tea practice with her neighbors, two of whom have started their own tea and silence tradition. The beauty of rooibos, she says, is that it asks nothing of you but presence. No chemicals, no stimulants, no pressure. Just a reminder that rest is not something you earn, it's something you return to. And when you treat rest as sacred, your body remembers how to heal. For anyone who feels wired and tired, who dreads the night because of the silence it brings, maybe what you need isn't louder distractions or more pills. Maybe all you need is a cup of warmth, a room full of quiet, and a willingness to begin again, one slow sip at a time. One unexpected benefit Diana noticed was how her evening mindset shifted. Instead of dreading bedtime as a struggle, she began to look forward to her tea time as a moment of peace and grounding. She even started keeping a gratitude notebook, where she would jot down one small thing that brought her joy during the day, right after she finished her last sip. This small act helped anchor her emotionally, bringing a sense of closure and contentment each night. She also found that her digestion improved, another welcome surprise. Studies show rooibos supports, gut health reduces. Let me introduce you to Dr. Elise Tran, a 42-year-old neurologist from Seattle known for her no-nonsense attitude and 12-hour shifts in trauma units. For most of her career, Elise relied on back-to-back espressos, instant meals, and the adrenaline of emergency rooms to get through the day. On the outside, she was successful, sharp-focused, but inside she was exhausted, not tired in the way sleep fixes, drained, disconnected, snapping at nurses, forgetting conversations, zoning out in meetings. Her brain was fogged with overstimulation and her spirit fraying quietly behind the lab coat. Everything shifted after a sabbatical in Kyoto, Japan. There, she shadowed a temple healer who treated neurological stress not with pills, but with rituals. The first lesson: green tea prepared in silence. No phone, no sugar, no rush. The tea wasn't just steeped, it was honored, each movement slow, intentional. Elise resisted at first, but something about the aroma, the warmth in her palms, the pause, made her shoulders drop for the first time in months. Green tea, she learned, contains L-theanine, an amino acid that promotes calm focus. Unlike coffee's crash, it lifts gently and sharpens clarity. When she returned to Seattle, she replaced her 3 p.m. caffeine spike with a quiet green tea break. Within a week, her headaches vanished. Within a month, she noticed she was listening better, responding slower, sleeping deeper. Her patients, they noticed too. Now Elise keeps a kettle in her office, not to serve others, but to serve herself. She says it's her daily reminder that healing doesn't begin with treatment. It begins with space, with stillness, with the courage to slow down in a world that rewards speed. Her team calls it Elise's green pause, but she just calls it finally remembering how to breathe. Oxidative stress and is gentle on the stomach, something especially helpful for older adults dealing with sensitivities. For Diana, the tea became more than a sleep aid. It became her daily reset, a boundary between the noise of the world and the quiet of her spirit. She now encourages her grandchildren to sit with her once a week for rooibos and story time, no screens allowed. They laugh, sip slowly, and share stories under warm lighting, creating new memories tied to something so simple, so human. In a world that pushes speed and stimulation, rooibos gave Diana back the rhythm of rest, and through that rest, she found her way home to herself again. So if your mind feels noisy, your focus scattered, or your energy inconsistent, maybe it's not about pushing harder. Maybe it's about softening into stillness, finding your rhythm again with a quiet cup in your hand. Sometimes healing the mind starts with slowing the morning. Now, let me tell you about Mrs. Linda, a 77-year-old widow living in Asheville, North Carolina, whose life used to feel like a long, quiet ache. After losing her husband 5 years ago, the days blurred together. But the nights were the hardest. She couldn't sleep well, not because of noise or discomfort, but because of something heavier. Grief, anxiety, and a sense that the silence might swallow her whole. Every evening brought back a flood of memories. Meals, shared walks, taken, even the sound of his laugh, and they played on loop in her mind. She tried everything from melatonin to nighttime audiobooks, but nothing helped her truly rest. What finally shifted things wasn't a pill or a podcast. It was a warm cup of chamomile tea and the way she chose to drink it. A neighbor, noticing her fatigue and fragility, gently suggested she try chamomile in the evenings. Linda wasn't sure what a flower could do for her heart, but she was open, especially since she already spent most nights alone on her porch. The first time she made it, she didn't rush. She boiled filtered water, steeped the dried chamomile flowers for 10 minutes, and added a touch of cinnamon and apple slice, just as her neighbor had shown her. She sat by the window, wrapped in a shawl, and just listened to the quiet no TV. No phone, just the soft hum of the night and her own breath. What surprised her most wasn't the sleep, though it did come. It was the way the tea made her feel safe again, grounded, reconnected to something warm and gentle inside her. Chamomile, she later learned, has properties that calm the nervous system, ease muscle tension, and even reduce the levels of cortisol, the body's main stress hormone. But beyond the science, what Linda felt was care, a simple nurturing pause in a world that no longer moved at her pace. Over the next few weeks, that tea became her ritual. She lit a candle. She wrote in her journal. She even began whispering old prayers, not out of duty, but because the silence felt sacred again, not scary. Slowly, her sleep deepened, her shoulders dropped, and her mornings became something she welcomed instead of endured. She started tending to her garden again. She called her sister every Sunday like she used to. Her friends at the local community center noticed her glow, the way she smiled more, paused more, breathed more. She told them, half joking, that chamomile saved her spirit, and maybe it did, because healing doesn't always roar in loudly. Sometimes it arrives in soft waves, carried by a flower in hot water, and the choice to sit still long enough to receive it. Now, Linda hosts a weekly tea circle for women in her neighborhood, widows, caregivers, women who've seen and carried much. They sit together, sip in silence, or sometimes cry and laugh into their cups. It's not therapy, it's not a support group, it's just presence shared. And every week they return, not because the tea fixes everything, but because it gives them permission to feel, to rest, to be. If your heart feels heavy, your mind noisy, or your soul just tired, maybe chamomile isn't just a tea. Maybe it's a bridge back to yourself. There's one more tea I haven't told you about yet, and it might be the most important one of all. This tea isn't widely advertised, and most grocery stores don't even carry it. It's called Tulsi, also known as holy basil, and for centuries it's been considered sacred in Indian households and temples. But it's not just spiritual, it's powerful. Powerful enough that at one point some colonial regimes discouraged its use, claiming it conflicted with modern medical protocols. That alone should tell you something. Tulsi isn't flashy. It's a humble green herb with a slightly peppery taste and a soothing aroma that somehow feels like a hug for your nervous system. And yet it holds an incredible track record of healing across cultures. It's known to balance cortisol levels, protect the heart, support liver function, and boost immunity. But more than that, it brings clarity. Not just mental clarity, but emotional clarity. I first heard about Tulsi from a Zen practitioner in Colorado who had been through cancer treatment, divorce, and burnout all within 5 years. When we met, she was radiant, calm, joyful, grounded. I asked her secret, expecting a long list of supplements and rituals. She smiled and said, "Tulsi tea every morning, every night." That's when I really paid attention. She explained how Tulsi isn't just something you consume, it's something you honor. Her tea ritual was simple, but sacred. She'd steep Tulsi leaves slowly while the sun rose, whispering intentions over the steam, letting the aroma wake her up before the day did. She didn't scroll her phone. She didn't check the news. She just sat there with the tea in her hands and her breath in rhythm. It became her reset point, her daily return to center. When life got loud, Tulsi brought her back to quiet. I later learned that Tulsi is classified as an adaptogen, meaning it helps the body respond to stress more effectively. Unlike stimulants or sedatives, it doesn't push you in one direction. It simply reminds your system what balance feels like, and in a world that often feels like it's pulling us apart, that's a gift. There are even studies showing Tulsi's impact on respiratory health, metabolic function, and long-term vitality. But here's the catch. Tulsi works best not when you rush it down, but when you meet it halfway with presence, with intention, with respect. That's why many who use it treat the steeping process as part of the medicine. The act of slowing down, preparing your water, noticing the scent, and feeling the cup warm in your hands. It's all part of the healing. I started my own Tulsi ritual last winter during a time when I felt completely off track, physically drained emotionally, flat, spiritually disconnected. 1 cup in the morning didn't fix everything, but it became my anchor. And with time, it became something more, a small ceremony of hope. So, if you've tried everything else and still feel like something is missing, maybe what you need isn't another solution. Maybe it's a sacred pause, a return to something older than pills, older than stress, older than the problem itself. Maybe what you need is Tulsi, and a few quiet moments to remember who you are. Beneath all the noise, Tulsi is known as the Queen of Herbs in Ayurvedic medicine for a reason. It's an adaptogen, which means it helps your body respond to stress not by blocking it, but by helping you stay balanced through it. It works gently, steadily, with no crash or dependency. It supports respiratory function, heart health, liver detoxification, and hormone balance. What's more surprising is how quickly some people feel the shift. One woman I spoke with, Margaret, age 66, said she started drinking Tulsi tea twice a day after her doctor told her to lower her blood pressure and reduce her stress. Within 2 weeks, she noticed her headaches disappeared, her breath came easier, and her afternoon anxiety attacks became rare. She didn't change much else. Just the tea and the way she drank it. She would turn off the lights, sit by her bedroom window, and hold the cup with both hands until it stopped steaming. That was her moment of reconnection. In temples, monks often prepare Tulsi tea before chanting or meditation, believing it opens the heart space. Some say it sharpens intuition, others say it calms the inner fire. One monk in Colorado who runs a small wellness center tucked into the mountains told me he considers Tulsi his most important daily ritual. He grows it in pots, blesses each harvest, and drinks it before speaking with visitors. He believes Tulsi reminds us of what it feels like to be steady, to be anchored in a world that constantly pulls us in every direction. And he teaches that when you align your nervous system through nature, your mind follows. This tea, he says, isn't just for the body, it's a compass for the soul. So no, Tulsi isn't just another herb. It's an invitation to pause, to breathe, to listen. And maybe that's why it was overlooked for so long, because its power isn't flashy. It's quiet. And in today's noisy world, quiet is revolutionary. So now that you've discovered all 5 teas, maybe you're wondering, how do I actually bring this into my life in a way that works, that lasts, and that truly supports healing? The answer isn't just about which tea you drink. It's about how you drink it. The monks who preserved these practices for generations didn't just gulp tea for its antioxidants or anti-inflammatory properties. They created space around it. They turned a simple drink into a sacred pause, a reminder that healing begins not with action, but with awareness. So here's what I suggest. Pick one tea. It doesn't have to be all 5. Start with the one that speaks to you most. Then each day set aside 5 minutes. Just 5 to create your own tea moment. No screens, no multitasking. Just you, the tea, your breath, and whatever silence is available. Pour the hot water slowly. Watch the steam rise. Feel the cup warm your hands. Sip slowly. Let the warmth move through your chest, your belly, your fingers. Don't rush it. Don't explain it. Just be with it. Maybe in that moment your nervous system resets. Maybe your mind clears. Or maybe nothing changes outwardly, but something shifts inside. That 5 minutes isn't about productivity, it's about presence. Because your body listens to how you treat it. If you show up with calm, it responds in kind. If you offer silence, it whispers back. This is what so many people miss when they talk about health. They focus on numbers, calories, programs. But the truth is, health begins with a relationship between you and your own body, between you and your rhythms, between you and your breath. And every time you sit down for tea with intention, you strengthen that relationship. You build trust. You rewire safety. You practice remembering that you are not behind, you are not broken, you are simply in need of reconnection. One woman who started her tea ritual after a long battle with anxiety told me she felt more in control of her life after just 2 weeks, not because the tea cured her, but because she finally gave herself permission to slow down, to not apologize for needing peace. That is what this is about. A cup of tea can be more than comfort. It can be a decision, a doorway, a new beginning. So as we close this journey, I'll leave you with one invitation. Choose one moment today to sit with your tea, not to do, but to be. And as you sip, whisper this to yourself: I am here, I am listening, I am healing. And just like that, you've started something new, something real, and something your future self will thank you for. The ritual can be as simple as taking 5 minutes in the morning or evening to prepare your tea with full attention. Choose a quiet spot. Use filtered water. Watch the steam rise. Feel the warmth in your hands. Let your senses come alive. Don't scroll. Don't rush. Just sit, sip, breathe. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. If you want to take it further, consider keeping a small tea journal. Write one sentence about how you feel before and after. Over time, you may notice patterns, certain teas that calm you, certain moments where your body feels most at ease. This is how healing speaks quietly but consistently. For some, the tea becomes a prayer. For others, it's a reset button. Either way, it works best when done with intention. One gentleman named Charles, 75, told me his tea moment is the only part of the day where he's not performing or solving. It's his moment to just be. And that's the point. Tea won't fix your life overnight, but it will anchor you. It will soften the sharp edges. And when you give your body and spirit even a few intentional minutes each day, you're signaling something powerful, that you are worth the care, that your energy matters, that you still get to choose how you meet the day. And sometimes that one choice changes everything. So as we close, I invite you to pick one tea. Just one. Try it for 7 days. Create a small ritual around it. Let it be your time, your space, your return to self. Because in a world that constantly pulls us outward, these small acts of stillness are revolutionary. And if this video touched something in, you drop a comment below and let me know. I choose to honor my body with presence every day. I'll be reading and I'll be sipping along with you.